Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Snapchat. As always, I'm joined today by none other than Cozy Snap. Cozy, what did you do to your headphones?
Oh my gosh, it's sad. I don't even want to talk about it. It's like losing a family member, man. Funny enough, I actually have the footage of when they broke. I was filming a Destroy guide, so I think it's actually like just perfectly on cue. I was taking them off, man, like this, and then just snapped right off, and maybe it was like a wee bit aggressive. Maybe I lost on match 3 on Conquest. However, they did broke. They broke it. It was sad. It was a sad day, and I honestly think I'm about to cave and just buy some more because I tried the blues. I've tried to date another girl here, and it's just not working out.
It's so weird seeing your ears blue. It's just not right. Like, they need to be white. Like, I need to see those white, like, just beautiful beats glow coming from your ears, and instead you're trying to find him. He's gone.
Let's do it.
There they are.
We're good. Listen, it's fine. We don't even need this here.
That's so sad. It's the end of an era, honestly. The end of an era. 33 episodes of the Snapchat with those particular headphones. Well, at least mine are holding out, so we get to keep the streak alive. But I gotta tell you, blue still looks good on you. Did you pick the shirt to match or what?
Dude, no, I went with another just eyesore of what the hell is he wearing? And whipped it out. I gotta say, headphone colors come in just the most. It's like a Toyota Corolla. It's like just black, white, or just god awful. And I need those colors that just make you want to dance.
I get it, man. Toyota Corolla is the most reliable vehicle on the road, one might say, and you just want reliable headphones that also look beautiful. I get it, but like,
you sound like someone who wears sneakers on the beach with crew socks.
I know, but okay, let's get back into things. We're kind of off on a little bit of a tangent here. We just finished having an absolutely fantastic conversation to start off the podcast on your channel. Would you mind bringing us in line with what we spoke about on your side of the podcast?
Did you have a beer on your side over there? What
Yeah, buddy, listen, I've had quite a few beers. It's for those of you that may not realize, it's very late right now. We're recording due to our scheduling. Yeah. And so, I'm a little edgier than usual, a little, sipping on the grape juice over here, trying to keep the energy levels up. So if I misspeak a little bit, it's because we're trying to keep it loose.
We're taking sponsors now for Pilsners. So we talked about OTA recaps, Nick Fury, and just the greatness that he is now. We also talked about cards that need the Nick Fury buff, ones that just suck and they need a little bit of love. And then we also talked about the card coming out today, Spider-Man 2099, and which cards that we think where they landed in their June rankings, and also where we think Spider-Man 2099 is going to end up. Dude, that was bad, huh? We both had beers. Spider-Man 29, is he good? That's what we talked about.
Yeah, Spider-Man 29, is he good? That's a good question. But let's get right into it here. I'm not editing this. We're going with it. We're rolling with it.
I love it. Let's go.
Power creep is a thing that is a very prevalent component of card games, especially as card games start to age. You start to get a situation where, like, okay, well, you want to add new cards to a game, and to add new cards, you want to have cards that do different things, that have different powers, and eventually some of the original cards start to look a little not so spicy when compared to the new counterparts that are hitting the shelves. And this is kind of happening in Marvel Snap to some extent. And specifically, I want to talk about power creep at the one cost. So I'm going to hit you with a couple cards here, and we're going to talk about how it seems as though some of the older cards aren't getting, like, they're just not compatible and not competitive in any way whatsoever, especially with the current meta. They're just incompatible with the current meta. So at the low end of the chart right now, in terms of play rate and win rate, I'm going to hit you with a couple cards. Uatu, okay? It has a 50% win rate. It's seen in less than basically a 20th of a percentage point. It's like, it doesn't exist. The card doesn't exist.
Fair. Yeah, you picked the bad one.
Yeah, Hawkeye, Quicksilver, all of which less than a percent played. Mantis, and then we've got Elektra as well. These are all cards that have existed since the dawn of time. Since the dawn of Marvel Snap, these cards have always existed. All of which have win rates in, like, the high 40s, low 50s at the best, right? Elektra, 53% is the highest. They're not seeing any play. But, Cozy, would you be surprised to know that we've got a whole bunch of cards that just came out within the last month or two that seem to be in almost every deck? Can you maybe guess, take a wild guess, what one of the top cards at a 1 cost is in Marvel Snap?
I will. I want to say this too. I think this is very interesting because I actually think that power creep is done very well in Snap. But 1 cost in particular, good sir, you are correct here. It is funny because it's like, how do you make a 1 cost card fun or crazy? You make it good, or even just like not a Quicksilver, right? And yes, I mean, we now have this kind of hierarchy that I feel like we've talked about on some Snapchats, right? We've got the Kitty Pryde, the Sunspot, the Nebula, and now the Spider-Ham. My guess is that those are going to be the highest played, no?
You're pretty much, you just nailed it, right? Like, Nebula is a 55% win rate in 20% of games. Sunspot is 20% of games at 55% as well. Spider-Ham's 56% win rate, but only at 2.39% currently because it's a Series 4 card. It's brand new, and the stats are kind of weird because obviously, like, you're working with time frames as well. So it's on its way up. But there's a couple others, though. There's a couple others I want to talk about here. Now, so naturally, I think the major, like, I think Nebula was like the one where I saw Nebula, I'm like, this is power creep. Just straight up power creep. Because, like, it's a 1.5? Like, on average, 1.7 at times. Like, it runs up huge.
It's the scaling. I think like those 3 cards, they're scaling cards, right? For 1 card, and it like, it's such a disservice to like freaking Titania, who's like somewhat newer, December. And like 1.5 back then, we were like, whoa, okay, the con, okay, like I see it here. And then you have these cards that just like get there with like no effort whatsoever. The scaling, it's the nature of scaling a 1 cost card, man. But I'm curious to know the others because in the random wheel game I was talking about on my side earlier, like I got Elektra. I was like, this is awesome, man. I'm going to use this as a turn 6 surprise on their Sunspot, their Kitty. Look out, world. Never pulled her, man. Just like, I just never felt like I ever even had the opportunity here. And so I'm curious, some of the others on the list, I could probably take a guess. But yeah, what are they?
Again, the ones I really want to talk about as well is you have Nova at 55% and 10% of games. But one thing worth noting, I do think Kitty Pryde's a little different because it doesn't really feel like a 1 cost. It kind of feels like a 3 cost that you get to play multiple times. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really a 1 cost because you're committing that 1 energy, unless you beast it, of course. But it's a bit of a different beast.
Sunspot would be the same then, I would say, because you're giving up that power per se. But Nebula is just the pure, like, just soaking it up, man,
Yeah, Sunspot's still in 20% of games, believe it or not, post-nerf. And I think that's partially because of the prevalence of High Evolutionary. It's making its way in a lot of those decks, natural kind of synergy there. But I think that a card that I'm bringing up here, this is a bit of a curveball. It's not really fair because it's not a 1 cost. But would you be surprised to know that if you hit 1 on your board, on your screen there, one of the cards at the top is going to be, you already got it selected, is Wasp. Wasp has a 56% win rate at 26% games. 26% of games, Wasp is in it. Now,
yeah. I wonder what that was before High Evo, like, because I feel like I didn't play Wasp before. She annoyed me. Like, I just didn't want to deal with her coming out of Jubilee or my Lockjaw. But yeah, that's insane. I mean, but that's the power of 0. Like the other day I was thinking, man, like Jane Foster's cool, but my God, like she has like 3 cards and that's it that she works with. Maybe 4 with Mr. Negative. And I'm like, maybe they should do more 0 costs. But then I was like, dude, that's a hard cost to do. Like, that's a hard, we're probably going to get more, but like, it's dangerous.
It is dangerous. And I remember having this conversation with you. We were talking about Lockjaw. You're like, no, I don't want Wasp in my Lockjaw deck. I'd rather play Nightcrawler. That's literally what you said. And now you've broken the meta with your Janejaw list. What's on your Janejaw list, Cozy?
Oh, dude, it's the Wasp, but it's the High Evo. It's the fact that you're getting a 0/3 that can be played multiple times. You're getting a 0/5, by the way. A 0, you can get even crazier if you get things just perfectly. It's wild.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to think about how like these cards have kind of like just completely elevated what 1 costs are. And for me, I actually like it. For the record, I like it because I've been a firm believer of make turn 1 great again. Like, honestly, I've been saying that for so long that, like, we've had this problem. Like, when Leech was a problem, it was because we were focusing so much on turn 6. We needed those early turns to matter. And that's one of the things I really liked about the old Leech meta was that, like, when you wanted to play Leech, you had to establish priority. You had to establish, a board state. And we lost that for a while in Marvel Snap. And now that these turn 1 cards are so impactful, I feel like we're getting back to it, but there's still disadvantages. Like, for instance, if you don't pull Kitty Pryde early, you're not getting a good card. If you don't pull Nebula early, then she kind of has that collector effect where she's not really doing much of anything. You can't play on turn 5. Like, what are you going to do, right? So they do have their disadvantages. However, for me, it is really interesting to see how, like, some of these old cards just cannot keep up. Why would you ever play someone like Hawkeye over Nebula? Like, you just wouldn't. Like, why would you play Hawkeye over Kitty Pryde? You just wouldn't.
Yeah, Hawkeye's like, dude, that's like, man, that's talk about cherry picking the bottom of the team, you know, like the last picked in kickball. But yeah, even to your point, let's just say Titania, right? I think this is
Good
like
example.
this is a good one. It's like, yeah, why would you, right? Like, why risk it? Why to be just like the guy that plays Titania kind of thing? It is interesting because I feel like OTAs completely help that. Like, Medusa, dude, is a starter card, and she's pretty damn good now. So, like, I just don't know if I'm a believer in power creep and Snap because of OTA's frequencies and because, like, even Broad was like, you know, I always come up to the team like we should balance them, and by the time I do it, they're getting balanced because it's the next week or it's on the board or whatever. I do feel like 1 cost, though, man, it's just a tough card to release. Season passes, I almost never want another 1 cost season pass card. It just felt weird. It didn't feel correct. But also, it's like, you have to be so careful. Like, Spider-Ham, perfect example. Him doing what he does is great, okay? I don't have a problem with that. The fact that it shows you the card, that's a card that's guaranteed in their hand, that's where it's like, that's one too many probably effects here, right? Like, I don't know. Like, Yondu's destroying a card that they don't have anyway.
Is that but is that power creep on Iceman? The fact that Iceman cannot see what they're hitting and Spider-Ham can. Now, Iceman does have 1 extra power. That is notable.
Yeah.
But Iceman doesn't see.
I think, like they said, you know, Glenn as standby. Like, we did Iron Lad with 1 power because we wanted to see that first. Like they said in their release notes, like, we're letting him see the card to see how it feels. And it feels too good. It does. It just probably feels too good. I gotta tell you, man, the intel is like half of it for me. Like, especially with how much I play Snap. Like, when I see what I destroy, like, and it's not even like, oh, they have Doctor Doom. It's that I have my Sunspot on the board, and or Human Torch, and I throw it down, and it kills an armor. Well, bam, and I'm like, that wasn't a Killmonger. If it was the highest card, it was Killmonger, so I'm safe now. Like, it's the little things. For 1 cost that you could apply. He could be 0 and I wouldn't care.
But at the same time, I think that if you get rid of that effect, this card's worse. And I think that the intel effect actually makes the game more fun. So I like it. I'm not complaining about it, but I feel like, okay, it's showing that effect. Why isn't Sunspot would Sunspot feel better as a 1/1 that reveals the card it hits? Tell me. Would you rather have Sunspot as a 1/1 that reveals the card?
Sunspot?
I meant Iceman. Sorry,
yeah.
Again, inebriated.
No, you that damn grape juice. Yeah, of course I would, man. Like, to know that I messed up their combo, that would help me a lot more. Yeah, it is. Again, it is a bit weird. I mean, like, you know, he is the straight to Series 4 card. The Spotlight Cache is like, people are going to get new cards easier. But it doesn't diminish, like, yeah, like, again, it's 1 cost, dude. It's so damn tricky. Because, like, if you go to the other ones, you can show me, like, yeah, like, Hitmonkey's good, but there's other good 2 costs. So, I think 1 cost in particular, I'm glad you picked it because it is one that it's like, it's so hard to have a card that is kind of fun, but isn't just completely taking a crap on the other cards out there.
And something we've talked about in the past, and I think it's really notable in this conversation, is the idea of like having turn dials to like balance, right? This is something that Glenn had spoken about in the past. Where it's like, okay, there's certain dials you have at 1 cost, like, what can you do? Like, how many dials do you really have? And it's funny because I believe in the developer notes, they actually identified Wasp as one of the examples. What do you do with Wasp? Yeah. Wasp is a 0/1. Like, if Wasp is never played, or you do make it a 0/2, then like, well, that's what Yellow Jacket is. And then so like, you really don't have that many dials, whereas Magneto has tons of dials. Fury apparently had more dials than we expected. And so like, yeah, what do you do? Well, I guess you release a whole new card in High Evolutionary and completely destroy the meta, I guess, right? Like, it's kind of crazy how these things work. But like, listen, I brought this up because I love 1 cost. I've always been a huge fan of playing on curve. And I love Jane Job, but like part of me, it's like, it's hard for me to skip all the way till turn 3. Like I love playing on curve. It's something that is so natural to me. And so seeing these cards come out that have really cool synergies, that have really good lasting impacts, and specifically Spider-Ham, Cozy, you don't have to play Spider-Ham on 1.
Yeah.
You could play Spider-Ham and wave on turn 5 and still ruin them.
Yeah, and I think what would solve some of this, like a card that I play way too much, man. I play this card, it's ridiculous, is Howard. Love him to death. You can't see it. I have 229 boosters for him. Like, dude, I love Howard the Duck. I feel like and it's why I was wanted Invisible Woman to go down. Instead, like, I think abilities that are kind of like unique-ish, that isn't a snow guard, is kind of what could work with 1 cost. It's not disruption, it's not power. So like in the future, like if you look, like Quinjet feels great because it's offering this kind of thing, and you gotta try to get it out there. That to me feels really good. But yeah, it is interesting because there's cards like I was thinking, like even Ant-Man, man. It's like it's a bit sad here, but I am glad that some of these can be played at any time, but most of them feel good to play on 1 or you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of like the calling cards of 1 cost is, do they have versatility to be played later on? And most of them can't, or they have the immense like power scaling of the Nebula, for instance, right? There's that trade-off. Overall, like we're kind of like, we're nitpicking a little bit. We're talking about some of the absolute trash, worst cards in Marvel Snap versus some of the best cards right now. But it's notable that, that Nebula, Kitty Pryde, these are brand new cards. And I mean, we talked about Nova before, but Nova used to be the most broken card in Marvel Snap. All at 1 cost.
I also have to say, just like a small UI kind of like gameplay experience thing that I enjoy. I hate it because I enjoy cards like it. Is Deadpool, Kitty Pryde. These cards show like pretty dramatically. Kitty's a little bit more subtle, but it shows when it's going back, right? Like it shows this like, hey, I'm still here, right? And it reminds the player on the other side. Because like the thing that's dangerous about this is the 5 cost combinations, man. The Iron Mans, whatnot. We'll talk about that later. But that's just a subtle thing, man. Because I can't tell you how good Deadpool would be, or better, is if you just like stealth back, like no animation, but it's like, boom, and it reminds the player,
The card that kind of does that is Nightcrawler, because you don't know if it's moved yet, because it doesn't do the float for the player. Yeah, right? So, like, Nightcrawler kind of has that effect. It's like, did they move Nightcrawler yet? Like, do we know if it's moved? Because they see it going like the little hover thing, but you don't, right? So, It's kind of funny that you bring that up. From power creep to getting more powerful, this past week has been momentous for Marvel Snap with the announcement of the Spotlight caches. This is going to allow more cards into the hands of more players. And if you don't have Nebula, if you don't have Kitty Pryde, you're going to be able to get a chance to get them. And I think that there is a couple major points of conversation here. The first thing we want to talk about is just overall what our impressions are of Spotlight caches, how we intend to min-max them with regards to, like, I don't know if you're going to be hoarding caches or, whatever. We're going to talk about that. Talk about some cards to target as well, which I think is going to be very important. But right off the bat, Cozy, I would love to hear from you. So it's funny because we had a series drop that was absolutely horrendous. You had Snowguard, Shauna, and I can't even remember what the other one was. It was so bad. Was it Dazzler that dropped to 3? Was it Dazzler? See, again, you're shaking your head. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Darkhawk stayed up. Null stayed up. All these cards stayed up. And at the time, it felt like, why? Why would you drop Snowguard? Why would you leave Jeff up? Why would you leave Darkhawk up, Null up? And now it kind of, with the perspective, we talk about this all the time, like the development team has that kind of like foresight of knowing what their plans are. And man, I would have loved to have known that they had the Spotlight cache up their sleeve when they announced that drop.
Yeah, it's like, hey, everybody, we're working overtime. All right, the next 2 days. And then silence, right? Like 2 days go by. Because we're all taking 4 days off later, like it feels like
exactly.
It's just like the bad before the good was such a not a great decision there. All right, and hopefully they learned that was you don't want to do that. You just do it all at once, right? If they would have done that all at once, it'd be like, oh, okay, for everybody involved, this makes much more sense, and then probably not release a pack about the card later, right? Like, it would have just been so much better, without question. And yeah, dude, there's a lot to break down with Spotlights. It's it's just man, it's exciting.
Yeah, the really nitty gritty of it, both Cozy and I do have videos on our channels where we go through it in detail. So, you can check those out specifically. But what I will say is that I do think that this is a great change for Marvel Snap. I think that the card acquisition issues were so significant. I think it was one of the hot topic issues of Marvel Snap. In fact, if you were to just ask a regular CCG player who's playing Marvel Snap casually, or even maybe played during launch and went back to MTG or Runeterra or whatever, they're probably going to say that, look, it was the card acquisition system. It was the collection system. I wasn't able to compete. I wasn't able to collect enough cards. Like, there was not enough of that reward of playing the game and unlocking and upgrading cards. That's kind of fixed. And that's huge. That's huge, especially for players who might be returning at PC launch, which I think is very significant. For those who don't realize, it's basically going to be like, you're going to have 4 cards, right? And every time you get a Spotlight Cash, which is going to be 1 in every 10, you're basically going to dip into that kind of cash. There it is, right there. Cozy's on the ball there. You get a 25% chance, you pull a card out, and then it becomes 33% chance moving forward. Pull a card out, 50%. And if you unlock the cash 4 times, you're basically guaranteed all 4 rewards. And then they turn into Spotlight variants, which is absolutely fantastic. But the question is that, and some people may not realize, and some people may not know, that if you hoard your caches or save your caches, they will convert in a 1 to 10 format. So like for every 10 caches you have, you will be getting 1 Spotlight cache. So in advance. So I intend to actually save my caches to engage with the system. If you're nearer Series 4 and 5 completion, it might be better for you to get those tokens and finish off your collection and whatnot. But for me, I think that there's, for the average player, going to be a lot more value in simply saving your caches and engaging with this new system, Cozy.
Yeah, it's funny. First of all, I got to tell you, dude, it was like, there's so much to digest. To make a video on this was a nightmare. Like, there's just a lot, and it's stuff that I want to make sure I'm right on. And it was a tough thing to do. At first glance, it really was like, I have to say, so if you're a pure numbers guy, the math just says to hold them. Like, no matter where you're at. The math now says, which I was, I said that you should probably get them. If you're at like a big whale, then opening them now might be worth it. It just depends what you value at that point. Like for me, I think collector tokens are gone, right? Like they're just gonna be so much harder to get. They're gonna still be in bundles, and you can get them there. But for that reason, I plan on getting, opening some of mine. But from here on out, I'm now saving. Because I agree. I think, getting the variants, getting the new cards, and then just engaging with what we all know is going to be a better system is definitely ideal.
There's no question that it's a better system. The fact that more players are going to get more cards is huge, because I think that's the major concern for most players, especially for free-to-play players. And they're going to be announcing the kind of Spotlight Cash buckets, so to speak, because they're going to be changing every single week. They're going to be announcing them at the start of every season, so you can know, okay, 3 months down the line, we're going to be targeting, not 3 months, sorry, 3 weeks down the line, we're going to be targeting a specific card, save your caches for it. And if you save up 40, you're basically guaranteed to get the cards of that week.
Dude, that's my favorite, like one of my favorite pieces about all this is like, man, what a chance to make some things right here and just improve overall communication. Because like a new season rolls over, and now all of a sudden, new season pass card, maybe series drops, because they already said they're going to reduce those. Makes sense. But then also like the calendar and just like looking at them and like, listen, I don't want to be the skeptic, but I do think we're going to get a couple Thanoses with the snow guards, right? Like there's no way we're going to get, I have a prediction that the first couple of weeks are going to be bangers. Like we're going to have like, whatever, like some solid ones, like maybe like Jeff, Hitmonkey, and I don't know, Stegron, right? Like just a cool mix of them. But every now and then, it's going to feel really cool where it's like, oh my God, look at week 3. It's high Evo, Jeff, what are the good ones, right? All lining up together. And that's cool that you can save up for that. Now, I've seen a lot like, it takes away player agency a little bit, but really to get 6,000 tokens, man, was such a chore anyway, that getting these 4 spotlights, saving them up, you could just guarantee get the card you want. And then you get a bunch with it as well. And I think that's kind of, it brings back some of the fun that was going through Pool 3 originally, right? And then you also have like the collector's thing as like a little sprinkle on top.
Yeah, and it kind of will bring more focus back into the collection track itself, which I think is a good thing because they are taking gold out of the collection track, right? That's very notable.
Yeah.
And the idea.
So that's the thing, right? Like there had to be, like, obviously with how many new cards we're getting, like there had to have been some type of like economy stabilization, if you will, per se. First of all, this does make it a lot more about cosmetics. If it's about like, but I used it for variants. If like guys, but their skins, right? Like if you want them, I think that's the purpose a little bit there. And you get what, like 1,100 a month. However, they have to find a way where not hitting level 90 means you get 500 more, like rank 90. Like, again, that's where I go back to the conquest shop. Maybe you could put them in there, the gold in there, and it's, you know, purchasable over and over, but at a higher level. The missions, I know they're doing that a little bit. I don't know. They probably should fix that a little bit. Not like we got that much gold from those anyway, let's be honest, but they do need to fix it.
No, and you still get gold from the like the 50 plus season pass crates, but like they're at a pretty low percentage. It's worth noting that the weekend missions do allow some gold. Like you do get some gold from the weekend missions. I do have a little bit of a beef while we're on it with the weekend missions. They're the only real missions, with the exception of the snap ones, that you have to win the games for. And I think that was kind of irritating because I think Snap really excelled from a daily missions perspective in the sense that like you unlock them by playing the game. Hearthstone, for instance, had a mission system where like it was like win 3 games as a warlock, win 3 games as a paladin or whatever. I can't remember, hunter or whatever. And it's like when I'm like, oh, I got to play some hunter to win those games, I'm going to go on a 40 game losing streak because I will not win I love the fact that Snap is like play 5 cards, right? Play 100 power or stuff like that. Just you're unlocking the daily missions while playing, and these ones step back from that. It was win 4 games with Spider Ham and win 15 or whatever with Ghost Spider in your deck. I'm not a huge fan of that. Cozy, but I get why they did it.
Yeah,
but
you're getting notably half the gold. Was it 250 gold, right? Or something like that? Or 200 gold? There was 200, 150 maybe? Regardless, I think it was like, it wasn't too bad. Like, what is the what are they looking to get out of this? They're looking for people to play more, I guess, which I guess that accomplishes it. But yeah, it was like the Star-Lord thing where you had to get the wins with Star-Lord, and that was like, people wanted like a video for that. Like how the hell do I win with Star-Lord in my deck? So I do agree there. It's like maybe just a middle ground of some sort, but either way, just like gold influx in general, is going to be interesting, especially now that gold is used for the conquest. But also, like, tickets aren't that tough to get. So, this is truly all stuff that I need to see the system, and I need to see how this feels. And by the end of July, I can really make my stance. And if it feels like garbage, I'll make a video. And if it makes sense and, like, people, you can't get your variant that you got every now and then, it's like, you know, I guess that's what it is. But then also make mystery variants a thing and the conquest a bit more. I don't know. I think that's how you solve it.
Yeah, and there's actually new premium mystery variants that are variants that can be 1,200 gold variants or 700 gold variants, but not pixels. That's a huge change. Please, please, please put that in the season pass. Please.
Oh,
we've been talking about the season pass needing something. Make those like at least a couple of them, please, like near the end in the high 40s, the 47
just
level, whatever.
Just replace
premium
all
mystery
of them.
Variant.
I just want them all in the season pass to go to those. But isn't it so funny that they acknowledge that nobody wants the pixels? Like it's just such a like, what a weird backwards like premium variants, super rare. Which let's just say the super rare being in those are awesome because that doesn't happen. But also, but not a pixel. Like it's just it's hilarious, man.
It's kind of sad though, and like I'm not trying to cheer up the artist. I swear I'm not, but like these pixel variants are horrendous. Like the Sentinel one is laughable, absolutely laughable. There's some that are just so brutal, but like honestly, the crazy thing is pixel art can be insane. Can be absolutely that's a good one. That Sentry one's beautiful.
There's some good ones. No, seriously, the newer ones are better. They've gotten better, but there's some. Again, like I was like watching Ben Brode in our interview, and I was like, "What's your view on pixels?" He's like, "Yeah, you know, they're pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah." So like, what's your view on pixels? And I just like pull up this masterpiece, right? And just like looked at his face. He's like,
"Shadow King."
Yeah, but there's definitely some horrendous ones. I think what it is too is that there's so many. I think there's more pixels than like anything by a mile. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a pixel variant for every base like card, basically. I mean, I think Baron didn't have a single variant, and then it got that the Agent Coulson's the best pixel.
The Lego
in the game.
Man. Oh my god!
Like, look at his face. What a beauty,
Look
man.
at the shading detail. I mean, just
I love it.
Picasso right here. I'll be mad.
But
you should feel bad if you don't get this from a poll.
But realistically, if you get like some actual like legitimate crazy pixel art, like I think that's different. That's a whole different story. But again, we don't want to rag on it too much. But what I'd like to actually step into now, because I know that we're excited about the spotlight caches. We really are. Now, we're going to go through a couple kind of picks that of cards of like we think they're going to be highlights of wanting to pull out of these caches. Now we're not going to talk about the snow guards and stuff. What are the highlights? And so targeting Series 4, we're going to separate them Series 4 and Series 5 because we believe there's going to be a mix between both amongst the different caches. In fact, in the spotlight caches themselves, you're going to have one of the available pulls is going to be a random Series 4 or 5 drop. Completely random. I believe it's slightly higher chances to be a 4 if the math serves me correct in my memory. But regardless, I'm going to hit you with a card, Cozy, and you tell me if it's a great card to target as Series 4. How much would you be willing to commit to getting Zabu out of a spotlight cache if it was made available to you?
Oh, if you don't have Zabu? Yeah.
If you don't have Zabu.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's yeah, what do we say? Like a 1, 2, 3, or all 4 pull, right? So like if you go all 4, you get the card. If it's like 1 is a 1 in 4 chance, 2 is a 1 in 3 chance on that, right? So I would say if you pull 2, oh man, it's so tough though. That's how it works, right? If you pull 2 and you don't get them in that, it's like you got to do the 3rd, right? Like you would think so. I honestly, that's up there on my list personally. Yeah, I use them all the time.
That is the most convoluted way to do this, but I love where your head's at. Like in my opinion, I'm like, give me an A+, 1 out of 10. You're like, no, we're gonna roll.
Because Zabu's an S tier. Like I love him. I think he's like an fantastic. But how many would I roll? Like because I was talking about this with my brother. Where I was like RNG. There's times where you're going to pull him on the first one. High Evo came out, man, and you get him on your first pull. It's like, that's going to be elated. But then you got the guy who High Evo came out, and he's on his 4th pull, and then he got him, and it's like, damn. So it's going to work against you and for you. What about you for Zabu?
I would 4 pull Zabu.
Yeah, probably.
You'd have to. Listen, if you go 3 in and you don't have him, okay, that's the problem, though. Because if you're 3 in, it's guaranteed the 4th. You have to go at that point, dude, right? So
we're gonna get the Mufasa, the Zabu, the majestic one. That's gotta be the spotlight variant. That has to be.
I've been saving all of my boosters for that Mufasa variant.
You know what's kind of sad, man, is that pool 3 cards aren't getting badass spotlight variants. Like it's only the pool 4 and 5s that are in there, which arguably there's a lot of cool ones to go off of. But I was kind of sad about that. I was like, there's some really cool pool 3 cards that aren't gonna get that like epic, rare value to them,
Yeah, I do think that, I'm not sure if this is confirmed, so I'm kind of hesitant to say it, but the spotlight variants do eventually end up in the regular mix, right?
I don't think so. At least not for now. They said time exclusive. So
time exclusive. So they will eventually end up there.
Yeah, as in like I have a Thor variant nobody has from beta, and they said that it's going to be in the regular mix, and it's not. So like, I think like 2 years from now maybe. Which I like. I think they need to have. I think that's cool to have exclusives. All right. How about stature?
Man, I'd go 2 pull in. I'd go 2. I don't know if I'd commit a full 4 in.
I do want to say this while we're talking about. I think Statue's deck is still so good that no one plays that deck. It's stupid. Statue's a tough one. I don't know if I'd pull for her just because she's very like specific. I think she's one where I would need another card. There's a couple in here that I would need another card to want to try for it, right? Like, would you like MODOK?
Oh hell yeah! I think you go deep for MODOK for sure. Like with discard without MODOK is like just playing it's not playing discard. You're playing garbage.
Yeah, it's like the like okay, man, Hitmonkey, Darkhawk, Noel, Jeff. Those are like no.
Jeff Series 5. What are we doing? You're skipping ahead here. We're on Series 4. Come on now.
Okay.
My Baby Shark. We're gonna have our moment for Baby Shark.
I think Hitmonkey's Series 5 too. Okay, so or did he go down? I don't even know anymore.
No, he's Series 5.
I can't keep track with their damn.
You're ruining my notes.
Okay, give me a pool
beautiful
4.
Notes.
Give me a pool 4.
I mean, you hit it. It's Darkhawk and Null. Like Darkhawk, Null, and MODOK are on my list. Like those are the ones. Okay, let's do it. Let's do your game. Again, I'm still kind of confused about how we're actually doing this, but okay, how many pulls deep do you go in for Darkhawk?
I mean, if you want them, dude, that's a full commit. You know, that's a
4 pull.
That's a 4 pull. Yeah.
Okay.
You?
All right. So Darkhawk's the 4 pull. I agree. No, you got to get Darkhawk. I'm calling it right now. Darkhawk's week 1.
Oh, dude, there's no way. They need to put. I bet you they won't. I think it'll be like Dark and then Null. But like, oh man, how good would it feel if they did Darkhawk and Null? Just like bam, bam. Yeah.
It has to be Darkhawk week 1. Like, there's no way, right? Like, they have to do Darkhawk week 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, MODOK, how deep would you go?
MODOK would have to be, if I didn't play discard, like it would have to be with other cards. If I love discard, that's your card, man. But I feel like if MODOK was with like Stature and Stegron, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's see what happens. But if like MODOK was with, dude, it's all in context, right? If MODOK was with Living Tribunal and Snowguard, I'd be like, what the hell? Like,
no, don't even. Take your one shot at it. Just walk away.
Well, and the good news is there's not that many like bad eggs. You know what I mean? Like they can only put these in combinations with so many bad choices. But like, oh man, yeah, like some of these, it's like, God, just avoid, man. Just avoid. But yeah, MODOK for me would, I'd like to see him with some others, you know.
I gotta be honest, man. I do not see them doing the Spotlight cash system and just like stuffing absolute shit into these caches. I think they're gonna try and generate hype around them. There's no way they're gonna be like, well, let's put a good card and then just put 3 pieces of absolute garbage in there that no one's gonna want. I don't think they're playing that game. There's no way. There is no way, Cozy, they're gonna do that.
No, because when they did like the series drops when it first started, like it was like She-Hulk, you know, it was like the first drop, and like they're usually pretty good at like, you know, at the very minimum creating hype around what they just did. But yeah, can you imagine? Yeah, like, all right, week 1, we got Snowguard, Master Mold, and Negasonic with Silk. You know, it's like, geez, I can't wait.
And Pixel Variants Special Edition.
Yeah, good God almighty. All right, hit me with Series 5, man, because there's a, fire for a lot of these.
All right. Series 5, how deep do you go for High Evo?
High Evo, what if he's like, who is he with? Is he with Iron Lad? Is like, good God. Or like, is he with, you know, there's just not a lot to, it all is in context, but High Evo is like you try to get him, man. And if you don't, hopefully he's with some other good ones.
I mean, realistically, pretty much everyone has High Evo. That's kind of what it appears. Like everyone and their grandmothers has High Evo already. So I guess you're getting the variant on that one. Thanos.
Thanos is like, it's so funny that Thanos, I feel like could just suck. And he's still Thanos. Like, it's just such a legend. He's got not the IP, it's all Marvel, but he's got the IP on the name pull. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude, I love Thanos. I would go as a person who wouldn't have, if I didn't have him, I would go for him. Yeah.
Like, I agree. Like, it unlocks a whole new archetype, and it's similar to High Evolutionary, where it's like it's a whole new way to play Marvel Snap, right? Okay, so you got to watch yourself here, Cozy, because if you offend me, I'm not going to forgive you. Jeff the Baby Land Shark, Series 5. You know it's going to be the first couple weeks. You know it is. What do you do?
Before I give my answer, I will counter and ask if Jeff was with some pretty bad cards. So Jeff, Silk, we'll keep saying it, but Snowguard and Howard the Duck. You would recommend people to go just balls out for Jeff?
Why are you gonna put me on the spot? By the way, it has to be Snowguard. So you're saying Snowguard, Stegron. I can't even think.
No, I said Silk, Howard the Duck. I can't use all those. So maybe like, well, no, they series drop one. Let's say so. Silk, Snowguard, Howard the Duck, and Jeff.
Why did you put me in this situation?
I know.
I wanted you to just pet Baby Shark, pump him up.
I know.
Right, get people hyped up for Jeff.
But
and
yes,
here you are.
Jeff is with like Hitmonkey. Like if there's even one other good pull with Jeff, it's a no-brainer for. Like that's the thing. That's where it really. And to your point, I don't think they're gonna do. It was just fun to think about it, right? But if like Jeff
so
and
they
Thanos,
make Jeff's pull a giant tire fire. Like it's like, hey, it's Jeff week. Here's absolute garbage. Like. You guys like baby sharks or like dude, I get what you mean.
Shark Week. They're gonna wait for Shark Week, 100%.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you know it's gonna
such
happen.
a good idea.
Well, dude, they're doing the whole Nick Fury BS, so you know for Secret Invasion. So I feel like they'd be like, all right, it's Shark Week, everybody. You know, I feel like.
Okay, assuming Jeff the Baby Land Shark's spotlight's not complete filth. How many pulls?
Yeah, I would say if it's with a good card, I would go all out.
See, but we keep just saying go all out. Like that's been our answer for every one. See, I knew we should have done like letter grades or something.
Yes, but then it's just like, oh yeah, great card. Like, you know, I feel like it also depends on the player. Like, I'll be honest, I know Jeff's good. I just don't put him in a lot of decks. Like I'm doing other stuff. But he's a great card. So like me personally, if you want the truth, I'd do like 2 probably. I like him though. He's good.
I watch every one of your videos, because they're that damn good. And I know why you cut Jeff. I know why you cut Jeff. You want to do this right now? Are we going to do this? I know why you cut Jeff.
Why?
You cut Jeff because he doesn't just straight break, like he doesn't do a broken combo. Like that's why you cut Jeff. You love like that tight, like you want to just punish the opponent with a combo that just destroys their cubes. Whereas I'm like, I can play Jeff on 2 and I am like, it's a beautiful 2-drop. It just does exactly what I needed to do. It goes exactly where I want it to go. I get to play it into the location that isn't revealed yet. And if it's Jotunheim, I can move him the hell out. I love Jeff for what he does on turn 2. And you want to break your opponent.
Fully. I try not to only do like the best cards in my decks because I don't want people that don't have the card to get them. But if you're going to get Jeff, get him now, especially because we're going into another control season. Like, with a Jean Grey that they leaked, like, that's a control card. So, like, get him now if you're going to get him. But, yeah, to some degree, you know, dude, he's so dependable. Jeff's a top 5. I mean, like, he's good. Yeah, for sure. But if you're going to get him now. And I think it's also important that, you know, I got the cards first before I found out truly. But, like, we've talked about this, man. It doesn't change the fact that, like, know your playstyle. What do you enjoy playing, right? Like, what do you enjoy? Like, Zabu is awesome, but if you don't do 4-cost cards, you don't like Sarah Control, you don't like Darkhawk, like, don't get Zabu, man. Like, you're not going to play the card. Whereas I have the most boosters on Zabu next to Iron Lad. So it's like, it just depends. Now, Iron Lad, by the way, give me that one.
And yeah, Iron Lad's going to be up there as well. Iron Lad's going to be a card worth targeting. But what I got to ask you is Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey is like, it feels irreplaceable.
Oh my
like there's
God,
there's so many times where like I make a Hitmonkey deck list. We're like, hey, I don't have Hitmonkey. Who do I replace it with? I'm like, you replace it with a discard deck.
With
like you
elves,
don't play this. Like,
dude, Hitmonkey.
You
know a card's good when you slap it with like Spider Ham, and like you watch it and you're like, snap. Like they lost. Like he is such an important piece to so many decks. And yeah, man. I mean, I can't even imagine playing some lists without him, you know?
If you're kind of early in Pool 3, I think you could skip Hitmonkey if you don't have Mysterio. Because I feel like Mysterio is married to Hitmonkey in a way. Because, like, Mysterio's another card. It's in Pool 3, but it feels like it serves an irreplaceable role in Snap. Like, how often are you asked, like, hey, I don't have Mysterio. What do I replace him with? And you're just like, nothing. Like, there's no replacement.
Yeah.
Hitmonkey and Mysterio are the 2 cards that I get asked about all the time. And there is no replacement for those cards. Yeah. So I think that Hitmonkey is definitely worth going for and on. If provided, of course, is not a complete filth cache.
Yep, for sure. What about Nebula?
Nebula's good. Nebula's good. I mean, it's literally one of the best 1-drops. We just finished talking about it's one of the best 1-drops in the game. Like, I think that if Nebula's there and you don't have it, you got to get it, right? Like, it goes in so many decks. It makes so many decks stronger. I love the fact that it's so non-committal as well. Like, you play it on one and just, like, it's your opponent's problem now. Like, really. Like, it's not, you don't need to do anything else.
Yeah. You peace out.
It's worth going. I would say I would go three deep on Nebula. No, but if you're going 3, you may as well go 4. See, this sucks. Like, what are we doing? This ranking system makes no sense.
It is a little backwards. Yeah, man, at the end of the day, I think what is kind of cool is that, like, a lot of the majority of the new cards are good. So, like, there's going to be great mixtures of it, and it's like weighing the pros and the cons. We get the schedule released in advance in a couple of weeks here, and it's just like, us as content creators, I'm sure it's going to be a video like, week 2 is a banger, you know? Like, yeah, I think it's going to happen. And, you know, I hope they don't adjust that, because I think I'm excited. But let's go to our last subject here, man. Surprise cards. Turn 6 MVPs. Now, listen, I don't want this to be, dude, like, hey, man, I got this killer combo. You ready for this? Shang-Chi killer. Put him in your decks. Now, okay, we know. All right, Shang-Chi, good card. All right, what I'm talking about are things like your boy Jeff the Shark, popping him in a lockdown lane. Professor X, what the hell, right? Surprise card, Alex. Surprise cards are so much more than just like doing something with Shang-Chi. It's you completely took what your opponent had complete confidence in. I think it's something that I really focus on. And it's how I've gotten pretty damn good at Conquest. You take something that they think they've got it, right? Negative. Luke Cage, turn 6. Just things that completely take them out of their comfort zone. And they weren't expecting it. They were depending, right, on that win. Whereas I played Devil Dinosaur, and I'm like, there's a 50% chance this guy's extinct from Shang-Chi, right? So hit me with like some stuff that you like to surprise in Conquest to get more wins.
The one that I've been using in my deck guide that I just released this weekend was Omega Red. Cozy, no one expects Omega Red, and quite frankly, the card is not even that good. It's a 4/5. The effect is merely okay, but it's literally that surprise factor where on turn 6, you drop it and you activate a location. You're usually winning one, and they're like, nah, like, fine. Like, he's winning a location. I don't really care about that one. And all of a sudden, across the board, across locations, into Sanctorum, into Death's Domain, you get that +4 power. It's crazy. I've been using Omega Red as a surprise card on turn 6, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, dude, I got on my Surprise Ultron deck guide, I got like all these comments like, why the hell is Omega Red in there? I'm like, exactly. Like, that is exactly why he's in there, because he's already wanting to play vertical. You want to play him tall, and you might as well get the extra bonus power on top of something that you're already trying to onslaught or do these other crazy bonuses with. I definitely like that pick. And it is partial, like, unexpected cards, and then also, like, unexpected actions. So, for example, there's not a lot of cards that can do this, Alex. But one of the reasons Darkhawk is so good is you don't know. Like, turn 6 even, are they going to play Rock Slide? Are they going to boost this guy's power by 4, possibly 9, because you can play the Rock Slide on the location and with the Mystique? Or as a great example, as we talked about, I think on my side, your side, I'm confused at the moment. But Devil Dinosaur, you've got this card that you can build up. Collector, now that we can have this Nick Fury, Agent Coulson, all this sudden, they've done like 90 calculations of Doctor Doom and what card you're going to play, and all you're doing is beefing up your lane and playing in another. That is truly like the surprises that get you wins.
And it can't be understated how important those are in Conquest, because when you take your opponent by surprise, you're able to steal those 4 and 8 cube games. I really do think that surprise cards in Conquest are incredibly important, because when you know that you have an edge that your opponent is not prepared for in the form of a surprise card, that's when you steal cubes.
Another one that's been going around a bit more is the really, we talked about it, but it's perfect. We talked about it earlier, right? So you got this Kitty Pryde you've been building up so much. And what's working with her so well is that you're able to play like a 1/8, whatever it might be, as you play it up throughout the battle. And then you can play that alongside an Iron Man in double that power. Or what's being popular is the Gamora, right? And it's turn 6. There's these lanes are closed down, and it's obvious where they're going to play. And all of a sudden you smack a 20 bomb because of these 2 cards, right? Like, it's the creativity. Like, this is truly what's the surprise, right? It's why I play Negasonic. Those weirder cards, man, that just get the job done. I got to say, too, I think another 5 cost that just got buffed up is Nimrod, man. Talk about a card that, man, playing Venom and Carnage and doing these multiple kind of, you split the Nimrod going crazy, and you already got your death down through whatever the hell on the first few turns, and you're just dropping, like, mass amount of power, which is why I like Destroy. I feel like Destroy is kind of always like, you just never know what they've got in their hand. Is it a Shang-Chi? Is it a Death? And it has this like constant state of surprise. So this is definitely one that I like as well. And keep in mind, guys, like I just said, Jeff for Lockdown, you can do, if you don't have these cards, something as simple as a turn. And listen, I don't know the combo you'll play. Maybe it's Silver Surfer, beats me. Mr. Fantastic. All of a sudden, this lockdown lane, this Death's Domain, whatever it might be, is getting boosted up at the last second that they did not account for. And so you can use them for priority, or you use them as a surprise. It's about looking at the cards and seeing what you can do with them.
All right, we have to talk about Giganto for a sec, because I have lost so many games when Giganto drops on that left lane. Now, listen, I get it. You're like, Alex, Giganto, seriously? But Spider-Ham's out there. But when they hit the Spider-Ham, they know you have Giganto as a 6/14. But if that happens, you're laughing anyway. But honestly, like, how many times have you lost games where, like, seriously, it's Giganto left? Like, that happens to me all the time.
Does it happen all the time? It doesn't happen to me a lot, but when it happens, I'm like, holy crap, look at this new card.
Yeah, fist bump, eh? Like, you got to give him that fist bump there. But the real one, I said, okay, Giganto's a bit of a meme. I had to bring up Giganto. The one for me is Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie is a fantastic surprise play. One of my first Conquest videos that I did was a junk deck with Valkyrie Sentry, where like literally if you're not going to Viper the Void over, you can Valkyrie that Void, and it's basically a 13 power swing on that card in and of itself, while also kind of ensuring you're giving up your priority a bit. That's one of the things I think that works really well with Sentry and Valkyrie, where you're giving priority in a lane away, which Valkyrie really wants to get rid of that priority, right? If you play it on turn 6, you can combo it with something like a Soul Stone and Valkyrie. You can combo it with Ant-Man, Valkyrie. Even if you just simply have like a anything on the board that just buffs, like for instance, like a blue Marvel. Yeah, that Valkyrie lane is gonna absolutely clap, right? The MVP of that deck, the junk deck that I featured, was Valkyrie. I won 8 cubes off Valkyrie. I won 4 cubes off Valkyrie. No one anticipated Valkyrie. It was one of the ultimate surprise cards, and I love it. And it's a hard card to play. And I even tried to play it in like Thanos Lockjaw, but like pulling it out of the Lockjaw feels horrible. Yeah. It really has to be a surprise card.
Yeah, I think to put a bow on a lot of this is that the biggest thing I see aren't that that people don't have these cards in their deck. It's not that. It's when you play them. It's having the patience to not play that Killmonger. Guys, sometimes it's turn 3. You don't have another card to play but your Killmonger. There's sunspots at a 2. Let it grow. Let it grow, right? Like there's no reason to play that you have to have the restraint. Now, you have to be careful. You want to map out your turns in advance. You don't want it to be awkward. But like the value, again, you want the false confidence from your opponents. And that's one of the biggest things to grasp. And
just to finish us off on that point, like even something like a Cosmo can be a surprise card. Because what happened, like I had a Conquest run in gold. I was against a non-revealed deck. I mean, somebody somewhere posted a ramp-based unreveal list with Black Panther and so I don't know who did it. Just all I'm going to say is I faced it a number of times. And I remember saying to my audience on Twitch, I was like, you know what, guys? We're going to our 4th game. We have not even played our Cosmo yet. They don't realize we have Cosmo. Like they just don't know. And so they set up the Black Panther lane and they thought they were all good. They snap. I snap right back. I'm like, this game's done. They have no idea that I have Cosmo. And I slid it there and the game was over.
GG.
GG noobs. But Cozy, I got to tell you, this is an absolutely this is a little more like random and off the cuff as opposed to our usual really highly structured conversations. But I enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun tonight. And it is wildly late for both of us. But you know what? For me, this was one of the most fun conversations we've had in a long time. So I want to say thank you for being so receptive to like our conversations here, because it truly is an honor to be able to share some Marvel Snap time and conversations with you, my friend.
You beautiful.
That is going to end our podcast today. I want to say thank you so much for all your support. We got Cozy's video right here in the middle, so definitely check it out if you're interested in seeing some more Marvel Snap content and great conversations. Thank you so much for your support, and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful evening.